Perk, can you feel it? Can you feel it? We are less than 2 weeks away from the NBA playoffs, and these are the top 7 in the Western Conference. Remember, the Clippers, the Blazers, Golden State, they're all locked in the play-in some order. We know the Thunder and Spurs, they've clinched those top 2 spots. Who's going to take number 1? But the Lakers, the Nuggets, the Rockets, the Timberwolves, they're all duking it out for 3 through 6. And then in the Eastern Conference, it's the Pistons. They've almost clinched that number 1 seed, but then you have the Celtics, the Knicks, the Cavaliers are just about locked into those 2 through 4 spots. But it gets more interesting a little further down. 2.5 games separating the 6th place 76ers and the 10th place Heat. So the Celtics, they decided, yeah, you know what, we're just going to put a beating on Miami last night. Here's how Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, they cooled off the Heat. This happened fast. It happened from the jump, Brian. Brown, driving, excuse me, look out below.
Wow.
This first quarter was crazy.
How about Baylor Shireman? Tracks down the loose ball, pushing it up the floor, behind the back.
Oh, little change.
Can you explain why it was crazy?
53 points.
The threes were raining down. That was one of the ways that it got crazy. When you're hanging 53 in a quarter, that's insane. It's tied for the second most in a first quarter by any team in the shot clock era. So they were clicking on all cylinders. A minute into the second quarter, the threes kept on raining. Tatum, he's been improving game after game here, getting himself going here. And then under 9 minutes left in the second, Adebayo gets the ball up top, knocks down the 3. He had a team-high 29 points. He did want to give the Heat fans something here.
He played. Everybody else?
It didn't really show up. Tatum, Brown, though, they certainly did. Spins, nice little find by Tatum there. And then in the fourth quarter, we could have just called it quits. There could have been a mercy rule here, but Tatum kicks it out to Sam Hauser.
He had a big game.
Knocks down the 3.
140 points, everybody had a big game.
Under 2 minutes left in the fourth. Brown working his way inside. Tatum, rather. And then here we go. Brown, this is just the exclamation point. I'm trying to hurry to the end here for Heat fans.
Shake.
Brown, Tatum, shake, bake, dominate. They roll 147-129 in this one. Now, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, they became the first Celtics duo to record a 40-point game and 25-point triple-double since Larry Bird and Kevin McHale did it. That was all the way back in 1985. McHale, he scored 56 points. Bird had that 30, 15, and 10. That was against Isaiah Thomas, Bill Laimbeer, and the Pistons. So
I'd like to watch that game again.
Right? We're going to have to go back to that tape. You can just watch last night's game and you kind of get the sense of exactly what happened there. That was his 7th for Jaylen Brown, 40-point game of the season. The Celtics improved to 10-2 here with Jason Tatum in the lineup. Perk, you're a resident Boston Celtic. What message did they send the rest of the league?
That they're coming out of the East.
I'm coming
Yeah, they're
out.
coming out of the Eastern Conference. They're the best duo in the Eastern Conference. They got the most experience. They got a guy in Peyton Pritchard who's up for the most improved conversation. But more so than anything else that I learned from this game is that Jason Tatum, and it didn't take long, he's accepted his role. And why do I say that? When Jaylen Brown was out against the Hornets, he was the man, the Batman. Last night, Jaylen Brown comes back. Jason Tatum says, I'm not going to be in your way. Go ahead, do your thing offensively, because I can do other things that's going to show up on the box score. I'm going to go get you 18 rebounds. I'm going to go get you 11 dimes. I'm going to show you I can play alongside of you, and I'm going to let you continue to be great. I'm not going to be in your way. I'm going to help you out, and that was the biggest takeaway that I got from that game last night.
Guys, he is averaging 21 and 10. Jason Tatum, 11 months off of surgery, is averaging 21 and 10 at what, 70%?
Yeah.
I mean, that to me, you want to know why the Eastern Conference is in trouble? It's because, look, the first round, we'll see. Second round is where the Eastern Conference playoffs are going to get serious. By the time that comes, we're talking another 4 weeks before that happens.
Right.
Where's Tatum going to be? Look where he's at now. He's averaging 21 and 10. And just now getting his legs underneath him.
Shout out to Joe Mazzulla. What I learned is they become a well-oiled machine. Plug and play. Whoever they get, whoever they trade away, whoever guys go down injuries, fill in for. We had guys in San Antonio. Tony goes down, Patty Mills. We had Dejounte Murray. These guys have become the San Antonio Spurs, to me, of the East in modern day. Regardless of who's injured, who's hurt, Derek White shows up, Hauser, Shireman. You got a multitude of guys, Hugo Hernandez, that can step up and make big plays. But Jason Tatum showed to me that he's almost all the way back. And the way they're shooting threes, efficiently, finding guys, moving the ball, more uncontested than it was in the past, and not just jacking up a bunch early in the shot clock. And they have the balance of it mid-range with Jaylen Brown, but they're shooting at a higher clip because they're moving the ball and being much smarter than they were in the past.
And that was always the thing with the Boston Celtics. Whenever they were in the finals, if they make the threes, they're going to win. If they miss their threes, then it's going to be a problem for them. It's one thing for us up here to sit up here and say this. I'm curious what you're hearing from other Eastern Conference contenders, if they are starting to fear the Boston Celtics.
Well, they obviously know that the Celtics are asking players to do things that they haven't done before.
Yeah.
Okay, but the results that we're seeing are showing that Baylor Shireman, Jordan Walsh, Hugo Gonzalez, they might be able to do it.
Kada.
Nimi Keita. The other thing is, I think Detroit has distanced themselves a little bit. Even though Cade's been out, Detroit has played so well with Cade out that it has improved everyone's view. Meanwhile, the Knicks and Cavs are struggling. There's been a bit of a divide. Those teams were together for a while,
and now
they're separated.
Sure. And speaking of the Detroit Pistons, help could be on the way, maybe sooner rather than later.
Hope
because
so.
The Pistons say that Cade Cunningham, he's progressing, and he could return from this collapsed lung, but he's going to be reevaluated in a week. So just 6 games remaining, remember. So that drops that timeline for him below the 65-game threshold. So unfortunately, that does end his postseason award eligibility. But let's just put into context how great he's been on both ends of the floor this season, right? Because he deserves some flowers here. 5 games with at least 25 points, 10 assists, multiple steals, multiple blocks. The most by any player since in a season where steals and blocks were both recorded. So this has been an awesome season. We hope to see him back here sooner rather than later, reevaluated in a week. But this is cool. The Portland Fire, Toronto Tempo gearing up to add to their rosters in the 2026 WNBA expansion draft. It's tomorrow, 3:30 Eastern, right here on ESPN. And speaking of the W, in case you missed it, New York, stand up. While some teams in the city, they're still chasing banners this century. 2024 champs, Brianna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu, they're running it back with the New York Liberty. Stewie announced on her podcast yesterday that she is joining Sabrina in re-signing with the Liberty this offseason instead of testing those free agency waters. Can't wait for the W season to get underway. But we are the home right here on ESPN of the women's Final Four. You don't have to wait for that. It's tomorrow night, highlighted by all 4 #1 seeds. Dominance. Joyce Edwards, South Carolina, squaring off against AZ Fudd, Sarah Strong, and the Goons at UConn. They have a squad. That's at 7 o'clock Eastern. And then Madison Booker, Texas, taking on Lauren Betts in UCLA. Coach says this is the one she's watching. Our Final Four pregame special from Phoenix. It begins at 6 o'clock. We're also going to have a special courtside presentation of both games on ESPN2 and the ESPN app. We have all sorts of cool guests joining for that one. Hey, coming up, though, April may have just started. April, May. But Big Perk's already talking June, his top 5 title contenders. And there's a couple in the big list